Bolton against Stone. The facts are pretty straightforward here. Bessie Stone, our plaintiff, gets hit by a ball hit out of the cricket ground across from her house. In other words, Bessie got. But before I say anything else about Bolton against Stone, let's talk a little bit about Stone against Bolton. In the UK Court of Appeal, Bessie Stone appealed a UK High Court decision which held that there was no negligence by the cricket ground's owner because there was no evidence of injury in the past 38 years, and a single act of hitting a cricket ball into a road is too isolated to amount to a nuisance. The Court of Appeal upheld dismissal of the nuisance claim, but interestingly enough reversed the negligence claim on grounds of res ipsa loquitur. The fact that someone got hit by a ball means that the cricket ground simply didn't do enough. The defendants were aware of the potential risk, and someone should be accountable for this kind of accident. Of course, now the cricket ground appealed, bringing us to our actual case, Bolton against Stone. I'm not going to repeat the opinion of the case, but basically the House of Lords found that the cricket ground was not negligent because a reasonable person would not have been expected to either build a taller fence or abandon the use of the ground altogether, because the chances of such an incident were just too low to justify it. Also, note that the cricket ground and its use by the cricket club predated the construction of Bessie's Road by at least 46 years. Okay, now here's where the fun begins. This casebook, seems to have gotten a few facts wrong. While Lord's Cricket Ground still exists in London today, the real Bessie didn't live by Lord's Cricket Ground. She actually lived at 10 Beckenham Road, Cheetham Hill, which is in Manchester, almost 4 hours away. Let's turn off tolls, switch to metric while we're at it since we're in the UK, and 321 kilometers apart. But you get the point, they're far apart. Looking at where Bessie lives though, there's obviously something missing. I took the liberty of taking the Lord's Cricket Ground and placing it across the road from Bessie's actual house here, which conveniently, and probably not by coincidence, is about the size of a large cricket ground. Interesting. Okay, cricket. I don't know much about cricket, but I do know baseball, and this is what I can gather. Baseball, cricket. Baseball, cricket ball. Baseball bat, cricket bat. Batter, batsman. Pitcher, bowler. Inning, innings. From my quick research, it seems that, like in baseball, you generally want to hit the ball as far as you can. We're not going to get too much into the weeds of strategy here, but I'm sure you're familiar with a home run in baseball where a batter hits the ball over the outfield fence, leaving the playing field. Cricket has kind of an equivalent, which is awarding 6 runs if the ball leaves the playing boundary without touching the ground first. So 6 is pretty good, and that's a lot more points than the average play, just like a home run. So basically, it's kind of the point, just like in baseball, to at least try to hit out of the park. But how hard is it to hit it out? So generally, a cricket pitch is a circular field with a circumference of around 200 meters, and the batsman and the bowler are kind of in the middle. Doing some quick math, that means the boundary is about 59 meters from the center of the field. And in this case, we know that the fence here was 78 yards away from the batsman. So assuming there was some space between the actual playing boundary and the fence, my numbers are in the right ballpark. The torque-feasing ball in this case then continued past the fence around 20 more yards for a total of about 100 yards, bonking our plaintiff on the head. I mean, obviously, Shohei Ohtani isn't pulling up to Cheetham Hill cricket ground here. Rather, in this case, it was a school teacher named Walter Ledbetter who batted the ball that struck poor Bessie. The career leader for most sixes across all formats is the still active Rohit Sharma with 594 sixes and 21,000 balls faced so far, which is a rate about 2.75%. Meanwhile, the career leader for most home runs is Barry Bonds with 762 and 12,000 plate appearances. I mean, we don't have a great way to ignore his record 688 intentional walks, but basically with some quick math using stats from Baseball Savant, we can get a home run rate of around 1.65% per pitch. That's a little higher than I thought compared to cricket. That's suspicious. Maybe we need to go deeper. Let's look at aggregate data instead. I found data from 1947 of the 14 players who scored sixes in international play that year. Since that's kind of a small sample size, I got the data for the next 9 years also. I also have home run data from 1947, which is a lot more because I guess baseball players keep their data a lot better. You might be saying, and rightfully so, Robert, I'm already so lost. What do these charts even show? Well, for cricket, the chart shows the rate of getting a 6 per ball bowled, which basically means for every time a ball is thrown at a batsman, what is the chance they'll hit a 6? For baseball, it should theoretically show the rate of getting a home run per ball pitched, which is the same thing but for a pitch and a home run. I say theoretically because I had to make a few assumptions. There isn't really good data about how many pitches batters face, so I assume that batters tend to face around 3.5 pitches per plate appearance. Turns out this doesn't really matter. Here we have 2023's data, so this is using the recorded 3.91 pitches per plate appearance on average for all batters. And then if we go all the way back to 1988, which is the furthest back this stat was tracked, so they had 3.58. And I just put 3.5 because it seems like we're going on an upward trend, but as you can see, it doesn't really matter. Combining all of these histograms, we really have no idea what's going on. So let's just compare sports. So we'll compare career leaders between the two sports. So basically who has hit the most career sixes and the most career home runs. And we kind of see that the distributions are just different. Interesting. Let's look at our 1940s data. Hold on, do post-World War II cricket players just suck? In that case, was the House of Lords right? Was it actually that unreasonable to think that a ball might not only entirely leave the Cheetham Hill cricket ground, but also hit poor Bessie? And here a 7-foot fence actually did exist around the cricket ground, the casebook got that right. And due to the topography, it was effectively a 17-foot fence. And if we look at the Google Street View here, we can kind of see what that situation is. The road beyond the fence, or wall, and Bessie's house on the right do seem to be at a higher elevation than the ground on the other side of the wall. That's interesting. You know, when I was planning this video, it was supposed to be about applying res ipsa loquitur to this case. You know, the fact that she got hit by a ball means that the cricket club didn't do enough. But the intermediate court already tried that and it didn't stick. And I've come to a different conclusion also after researching this video. You know, what if getting hit by a ball in 1947 really was a crazy idea? Maybe Bessie, by moving into a house right across from the cricket ground that had been there for 100 years leading up to her accident, was kind of her assuming that risk. Maybe the House of Lords did get this one right. Bessie didn't just get got, maybe she got herself.